All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tower Dive TV Weekly number 31. This is Lunette the Herald casting here today. With me is going to be Mysteryopolis, and we are into the second semifinal game of this weekly tournament. So this is going to determine who goes into that final match, who is competing for all that lovely prize money, and of course that exclusive triumphant Raya skin. You know you love it, you know you want it, and first ban off the bat is going to be Kha'Zix, followed up by Thresh.
Two interesting bans indeed. We saw a lot of good play by the Thresh in the last game, especially the use of that lantern, getting all the teammates out of very sticky situations.
Yeah, Thresh is a good ban, especially after that last game. He was quite the pain. Hecarim and Twisted Fate being taken off the board, which, no real surprise, these are actually very standard champions to be banned out in terms of both solo queue and, of course, as we've been talking about, high-ranked games. Thresh, of course, he has a lot of that game-changing potential. He's like a Blitzcrank, except with more utility. The only downside to Thresh compared to Blitzcrank is that Blitzcrank's pull has a faster speed, whereas Thresh's pull has a longer casting animation. Not a longer cast, just it takes longer for his chain to actually go out and hook onto somebody compared to Blitzcrank's hook. So that's sort of the offset between these two champions, but both of their hooks can be very game changing. So I completely understand why Thresh would be banned out, especially after that last match. There were many clutch saves, and of course that box is something terrifying to get put into. 99% slow. Aside from being able to use abilities, you are pretty much stunned for quite some time. Of course, Hecarim, again, terribly great late scaling jungler, a lot of potent early ganks, very hard to ward against. You actually have to ward behind your turret simply because of the fact that he's going to be able to come in with that ultimate as well as that charge and just really decimate your bottom lanes. And then, of course, Twisted Fate coming out of that ban list. Nobody really wants to deal with those global ultimates.
Really not. Maybe we should start banning Pantheon as well. Anyways, Nautilus and Zac being the first two picks, one for the blue team, one for the red team. But we've also seen Zed, Tristana, and Ezreal. Ezreal, we saw a lot of plays. In the last game, he's very strong at outputting a lot of damage very quickly, especially if he lands a lot of his kill shots. But seeing Tristana up against him is very interesting indeed, because early game she struggles a little bit, but in the late game she has the longest range of any AD carry, and that puts her in a good position. She outranges even towers. That's how long range is. So she's going to be pretty hard to deal with in some regards.
It's an interesting choice. There are ups and downs to Tristana. You know, she's got a really good early game and she's got a really good late game. The problem is she doesn't get those kills early on. Her mid game is it's only so-so. It's not bad, but it's not the greatest that it could be. Whereas mid game is a place where Ezreal actually can do quite well if he gets those early couple of kills. You know, so Tristana really wants to focus on getting those kills early on to essentially jettison her to where she's in that late game progress, which will be excellent for her. You know, she'll just be able to absolutely wreck in team fights if she can go ahead and do that. But more curious than that, looking at these picks, and bands, please excuse me, I had to yawn there, ladies and gentlemen. Is this Nami pick? Now, this is something really interesting to see. Nami isn't a champion I've seen picked up lately in our tournament, but I actually like Nami. I remember before she came out, TowerDiveTV did this huge special about why Nami was going to be the greatest support known to mankind and why, in theory, she should have been one of the best supports in the entire game right now. But she just fell off so quickly. You know, Nami has a couple unique things for a support that most in her position will never see, but for some reason just don't work well for her. Nami has a +4 armor scaling, which is something in I think the top 12% of champions in League of Legends. Other champions that have a +4 armor scaling being your general tanks, a couple of AP mids like I believe Anivia and Annie might as well have a +4 armor scaling. So she's able to take auto attacks for days in theory, except for the fact that her health scaling is abysmal as far as supports go. And she's left very squishy in a similar position to Sona is, where she's got that crowd control, she's got the healing, but if anybody focuses her for a short period of time, she's going to die. So, you know, she had all of these things that would have made her an amazing support when she was about to be released, but just none of that really added up in actual gameplay that was beneficial to her. It was very unfortunate to see.
Very unfortunate indeed. Whereas the rest of our picks, we have seemingly picked up a Rise to counter the Z pick, I believe, in the mid lane. Could also be Mordekaiser, though, that we're seeing in the mid lane as well. We don't really see Mordekaiser these days, so that's an incredibly interesting pick. I don't think Mordekaiser's fallen off too hard, but he has had some problems in the past with scaling and balance issues just because his kit works so uniquely and so differently compared to all the other champions.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see more so how he uses his ultimate than anything else. If he can go ahead and get that clone down onto Ezreal, especially if he gets those couple of early kills off that he'll most likely be looking for, he'll be in a really good position. We are only 35 seconds out from it. Tell me a bit about what you think about these overall comps, Mystery.
Well, overall, I think I'm actually liking red team's comp over blue team's comp. Blue team seems to pick a lot of champions that you don't really see in the top level play these days. You don't really see much Nautilus or Mordekaiser anymore, although they're quite strong picks still. They're not bad picks. You just don't see them a lot in the top level play anymore. Whereas for the red team, you've got Zac, you've got Ezreal, you've got Renekton. He's normally kind of seen as one of the top lane bruisers. Good counter to some of the other champs as well. And as you said, we've got Nami, who's kind of a bit half and half in regards of what she does and what she can do, but also her downsides as well. So in regards to our picks, I will have to give it to the red team because I just think they have a bit more of a stronger team comp than the blue team.
Well, we will have to see. We are in the 3-minute delay, so this is the last time I'll be able to look at chat, so I wanted to go ahead and answer this while I had the chance before we got into the game. But yeah, guys, if you're looking at opportunities or any way to help out TowerDiveTV, you can email us over at lunettetheherald@towerdive.tv for any questions, concerns, comments, or opportunities you might be looking for into shoutcasting. Alternatively, if you guys want to make any donations to make sure this place continues to run smoothly in terms of both casting equipment, paying our lovely casters for all of the away events that they do in front of crowds of hundreds of thousands of people, as well as making sure that the site continues to run smoothly, gets overhauled, and we're able to run things like show prize matches and send some lovely individuals out to packs. You can go ahead and donate to us on PayPal at, you guessed it, lunettetheherald at towerdive.tv. In the meantime, guys, we are about 2 minutes out from this as summoner spells have been revealed. We have got for the blue team Zed in the top lane. We have got Nautilus in the jungle, Mordekaiser in mid, and then Trist and Sona doing in that bot lane. For the purple team, we will have a Renekton top, a Zac in the jungle, Rise in mid lane, and then an Ezreal Nami combo in the bottom lane. Both of these very strong team comps, so I have to give a slight edge to the purple team. They've got a lot of CC, a lot of surprising CC coming out from both Zac as well as Nami, and I think it's going to give the real lockdown potential that they need for Rise to single pretty much anybody out that he needs, whether it be Sona because she gets too close to try and crescendo, Tristana because for some ungodly reason she'd accidentally jump into a fight, or Zed who's going to try and burst down the back line of the purple team. I think Rise is a great choice in this particular comp. Maybe he'll have a chance to single somebody out. That's going to be more so a late game thing than anything else. So I think if the purple team can really strive for the late game and lock down Tristana, they'll be in a great position.
Entirely agree with you. However, if the blue team gets the sort of thing, I mean, they've got a lot of characters on the blue team that can obviously just carry just as hard as the red team. They've got Tristana that can output a really hell of damage onto a lot of them, especially with that explosive shot, as well as that ultimate of hers as well, the Buster shot as well. That's going to cause some problems for the red team, I think. But Zed is also a very strong. I think he's going to be either in the top or the mid lane. It's kind of hard to see with just looking at some of the spells if it's going to be Mord or Zed in the mid lane. But Zed is really, really strong at the moment just because he can output tons of damage in a single space of time. If you can get a combo right, he just bursts so much damage onto an enemy champion, onto an enemy. It is ridiculous.
We did see Zed going through some recent changes, but they really haven't impacted his play terribly. We saw him being played in the mid lane in the same way that Kha'Zix is played in the mid lane, where you go for some kind of these bursty, long-range AD champions with the potential for assassination is the same reason why Jace would be picked up in the mid lane. But we saw them played in the mid lane to counter individuals like Lux, like those squishier kind of, ranged mages that just didn't have the ability to put up with that assassination AD damage. So while I think that Zed is a valid choice, I don't particularly see him going into the mid lane, especially against somebody like Ryze, who's going to have that hard lockdown with his Rune Prism, where he won't be able to move, and he won't really have that opportunity to get terribly close to him. I do see Mordekaiser going up against him and essentially it just being a farm fest, but that's one of the things that Ryze really lacks in the early game because of the fact that, all of his spells none of them are skill shots. A lot of his farming relies on auto attacks simply because of the mana cost. He has to balance it with harassment and everything else like that. A lot of it just boils down to auto attacks in the beginning of the game, aside from using them to clear later on. More importantly about Ryze, though, he's got that triumphant Ryze skin, so clearly someone's been out winning some tournaments.
Clearly, indeed, it does mean that they've either won here before or they've won somewhere else before, which means they are going to sort of showing off their stature of play in tournaments. They are showing off that they mean business and they don't want to be messed around. The Ezreal pulling out his new TPA skin that's just come out. But you've also got, for the blue team, you've got the Astra Nautilus and you've got the
Oh no,
Shockwave
Zach,
Zed.
don't do it. Mister, you're not in the game yet, are you?
No, I'm not. I did put
I'm
in
sorry.
chat.
I'm sorry. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. So we just watched Zach rather. Oh, that's going to be fun this game. Face check a bush of 5 people, and now Nautilus is doing the same. He's going to be forced to flash out, but that Nami stun will go ahead and land on him. It doesn't look like anybody else is going to pursue, but he is going to take another Mystic Shot from Ezreal to the face, and that is going to force him back behind to his base at level 1. That is going to be 1-0 in favor of the blue team. It looks like Zed actually picked up that kill, so he's going to be walking up to lane with that first blood bonus, as well as that experience advantage that he's going to get from that kill. That is going to put him quite ahead, and that is going to be something scary to deal with.
Absolutely, it does put him a bit ahead in that regard, and it's gonna put him in a very good sort of stature as well. Just because he may get to go back and buy himself a couple more items just because he picked up that early kill and that early game advantage.
Yeah, he's decided to actually go for a longsword now, as well as a rejuve bead, a ward, and some potions on him. So, oh no, Nami actually disconnecting, and there we go, the pause coming out. Stay tuned for more riveting action on this Summoner's Rift 5v5, because pauses are the most exciting thing in the entire game for shoutcasters.
Absolutely.
I hate pauses, I'm sorry.
It's fine. I have a bit of a problem with my League client at the moment, so that's why I haven't been managing to do any PvP casting at the moment, because I actually can't spectate the game.
Oh man, I hate so much. Just pauses are the bane of my existence. Not that they're not done for valid reasons, but it's gotta be the most annoying thing ever when a pause goes on for 10 minutes. You're 2 minutes into the game, the cows and the shoutcasters are like struggling to find something to talk about. Like, how do we do this? We've gone over the builds, the runes, the masters, the compositions. One person's died in the first 2 minutes. What else could we possibly touch on that, we haven't gone in circles about already? So yeah, shoutcasting, guys. Learn to kill 10 minutes of time by saying absolutely nothing over all of those seconds, and everybody will eat it up and love you. And by that I mean most people will actually hate you for it. But are you in the game yet, mister?
No, I'm trying to figure out why it won't let me spectate, because it won't
Oh
let me
no!
It's not letting me spectate at all.
Oh
Like, it comes up
no!
with it's coming up with unknown error. An unknown error has occurred. Sorry about that. We've sent a report to the server. If you continue encountering this error, you may want to check the support site or forum for more information.
I don't want to solo cast.
So I'm gonna have
I hate talking to myself. I hate talking to myself. Mystery. Hopefully it fixes itself once the pause is off. On the bright side, we've managed to kill 2 minutes so far, so we're doing good.
We're doing good. So I think we may have to switch roles here. So I'll
man.
play by play just so that we can keep things up. And,
oh my god.
broadcast then, so...
Just popping in for a second. I think the error is coming from the pause. I don't think you can spectate while the game is paused.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
That's
Fair
why I'm
enough.
saying we'll see if we can figure that out in a bit. Anyways, so fun fact, Mystery. I don't know if I've ever told you this story. So there was a time where my spectator on my client was broken, and it'd do this like every couple of months where my spectator mode just wouldn't work, and it'd take me like 3 or 4 minutes to actually to actually finish loading and get into the game. It was so stupid. And there was one time I got called in to do a tournament. It was a weekly tournament. I think it was a Go for Law, and I ended up having to commentate by watching the stream. For the entire tournament, I sat and did commentary from the stream, so I can safely say that I've managed to commentate games that I
I
wasn't
have
in.
actually... I say... I have actually casted from the stream before when something's gone wrong or I haven't loaded in correctly or League's not doing something right. I have actually casted from the stream before, so it is doable. I can do it. I just prefer to actually spectate the
Obviously.
game.
Oh my god, you know what was the best though? So Foxy got LASIK like a week and a half ago, something like that. I made him cast games while he was blind. So I
Wow.
made him cast games while he could not see. I actually recorded it and put it on YouTube, and then I made him do some play-by-play in it too. It was hilarious. He was going on nothing but the game sounds. It was awesome. It's
Wow.
probably the funniest stuff I've ever seen. And then at the end of it, I got really sad because I had to sit and rewatch it and dwell on something. The fact that that man, while he was blind, is better than 80% of the casters in League who can use their eyes 24/7. Oh, it's so sad.
Please tell me he's not better than me as well.
Sweetie, he's better than me. Are you kidding me?
Oh wow, Foxy is pretty damn awesome. If you guys have never seen Foxy, I suggest you do go check Foxy out. He does have his own channel that he does occasionally stream on, but he does stream for TowerDiveTV. He has been doing a lot of work for something else that I don't know if I'm allowed to speak about in stream.
No. No.
No, that's why
That's
I'm not gonna say anything of that. So he's doing,
NDAs exist for a reason. Yeah.
as I said, he's doing something else at the moment, but if you've seen him cast League of Legends, he is godlike. I've had the pleasure of casting with him myself, and he is just an amazing caster, so I suggest you guys do check him out if you get the chance.
I think we managed to kill about 5 minutes because it looks like the fish is back. So hopefully we'll be getting into this game here momentarily. Anyways, I hope we have amused you guys with these randomly recanted tales of, prior casting. Everything from blind casting to casting from streams and all the other really, really stupid stuff that casters get to put up with on a fairly regular basis in order to entertain you individuals. But yes, teams only get 10 minutes of pause, so 5 minutes is gone for the red team should they pause again, and God, I hope that's not the case. So we are going to get back into this. Remember, guys, if you are shoutcasting or spectating, hit J to jump to live, and then we will be right back on track. Except Mystery still isn't in the game because he had that bug, so immediately we saw Mordekaiser getting chunked down to half health, and there we go. A little bit, oh my goodness, hiccups of return damage being pelted down onto Rise. So we talked a little bit about this earlier on, where Rise would either have to use his spells to last hit or to harass, and he's obviously taken the avenue of using them to harass right now, wanting to try and keep Mordekaiser at a distance, simply because a lot of what Mordekaiser is going to be doing is AoE damage, so he's going to have the ability to go ahead and harass without having to really lose anything for it. That being said, in the bot lane, we did see that early level 2 coming out from the blue team, obviously doing double golems, but a nice job on Sona, keeping herself fairly healthy so that Ezreal and Nami weren't able to take advantage of that, and now we can see them just hard pushing into this tower. They want to go ahead and try and deny Ezreal as much CS as possible, and then go ahead and just keep that farm advantage. Mystery, are you in here now?
I'm still watching the stream, and I'm going to be casting from the stream instead, so... Because it's League client not doing what I want it to do tonight, guys. Sorry about
Awesome.
this.
So I'll be
Technical
taking
issues
over
are technical
play-by-play.
issues.
Yeah.
So
Meanwhile,
I
in the
will
mid
leave.
lane, it looks like we have Zac coming in. The immediate flash forced out from Mordekaiser will go ahead and keep him safe, and now Zac, the Nocturne bot, having to return to his jungle, content with the fact that he forced out a summoner spell.
Absolutely. And forcing out a summoner spell is pretty much just winning a battle in itself, just because if you force out that summoner spell, it means you can come back pretty much shortly after gank again and pretty much easily get a kill out of it as well.
An excellent point, and now we can see here down in that bot lane, just that heavy push we were talking about earlier. The problem that Ezreal is having right now is he has to decide either he's going to be able to CS under turret, or he's going to have to force the lane back out so that his turret doesn't take that additional damage from the minions. The problem is that he's at such a low level right now. We're even hitting that backline. You know, there's a pattern to last hitting minions under turret. For melee minions, it's 2 turret shots and an auto attack. For backline minions, it's 1 turret shot and an auto attack. At this level, though, he doesn't have the kind of damage that he needs to go ahead and be able to perform this combo properly. Meanwhile, in the top lane, it looks like we actually have a gank going down. Zac being forced to flash out. The Ignite is down, and he will get taken down, and now Renekton in a world of trouble as Mr. Dr. Snuggles tries to get out of there, and Beached Whale is forced to go back to CSing.
It was a very strong and interesting engagement. It does mean that Zed now has double buffs, though, because he picked those up off the jungler, and that's going to give him a big lane advantage against his opponent. So Renekton's got to start playing a lot safer if he doesn't want to get killed by that double buff Zed.
Yeah, we do see Nami trying to go in for some poke here. In the meantime, you know, Nami is one of these interesting poke champions. Her heal has such a unique mechanic to it in the fact that it is a bouncing heal. She can either use it to go ahead and harass, or she can go ahead and use it to try and proc off a double heal. Right now, we see her trying to use it to try and poke down both Tristana and Sona, but with the kind of support that they're running with Sona, who's going to have that heal that's going to target the both of them, this really isn't terribly effective at the moment. And instead, you can see Ezreal just forced once again to go ahead and try and rely on that. We do see the power cord coming out, Nami taking a healthy chunk, as well as Sona. Both of these support champions are very squishy.
Really squishy, and they can output a lot of damage between themselves as well, so it's going to be interesting to see what sort of support can do better than the other support, especially between Nami and Sona. Whereas looking at some of the builds as well in the regards of the bot lane, we can see Sona hasn't really got much at the moment. She seems to have burned all her pots at the moment. She's only been really buying wards and pots for her teammates at the moment. She's only got 1 assist under her belt, so it could be that she hasn't actually properly backed yet. Nami, on the other hand, is pretty much going with the same sort of stuff as for Nami as well. Only wards and pots. I think this is sort of kind of build you want to go with support these days. You're going to rely mostly on your runes and your masteries to do the damage for you, and means you can spend all your money on getting the wards for your lane as well as the pots to keep yourself alive and sustained throughout the engagements.
What their builds really mean more than anything right now is that neither of them are initially going for a GP10 build. None of them are going to be going into that first item buy of Philostone. Because they didn't pick up the early fairy charms, so I don't suspect we'll see them going for it. Instead, I suspect we're going to go ahead and see a lot of early sight stones coming out in exchange for that, just because of both of them. You know, they're pressuring really heavily. They need those extra potions. They need that extra vision. Especially the blue team right now, they have got to have that extra vision if they want to be pressuring these lanes so hard.
I do wish to say that Mordekaiser has got quite the advantage against Ryze at the moment.
Oh no, and Ryze getting caught out here. Here we go. That is a Rune Prism down onto Nautilus, but that hook back and the failed flash will go ahead and leave Ryze a very, very dead individual. Oh, that was an unfortunate flash to see, as that will be on cooldown for the next 5 minutes.
It will be. He just caught himself out a little bit too much there, put himself in a really bad position. He didn't see that Nautilus was there, and it did mean that pretty much they could just easily pick up that kill.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate situation to see, but more importantly, we see the 3 of them, that Ryze Ghost included, coming down to the bot lane, and there we go, there's the Nautilus ultimate, the Tristana jump in, and Mordekaiser will pick up the kill, and now there's the Sona crescendo going down, as well as the exhaust on Nami. Perhaps a little bit of overkill, but they still managed to pick it up, and Tristana will get out with only a sliver of health.
That was a 4-man gank on a bottom turret, and it just goes to show that with the right coordination, even a good team like the red team can just be brought down with a simple use of good team coordination and skills as well. I really think Mordekaiser was a good choice for the mid lane, especially against Ryze as well. I think Ryze kind of didn't expect what kind of ability and power Mordekaiser has under his belt, and that shield of his has been pretty much pushing back a lot of the damage that Ryze had been putting out onto Mordekaiser.
An excellent point. Meanwhile, we saw the blue team pick up the dragon, so it's 5-0 right now. We see them pulling out nearly about a 4K gold advantage. That's something very unfortunate for the red team to be dealing with right now. They don't have a clear lane that's winning right now. The only one that's possibly going even at this point is top lane, and even then you can see the levels, they're fairly close. Nobody has managed to kill the other, with the exception of Zed having those 2 assists, but that's all that he's really got going for him right now, and none of them have really come off Renekton. So despite this, Renekton's actually farming quite well. He's got 20 CS over Zed right now, and it looks like he's going to go in for the turret dive. Ryze coming up here, and there we go. There's the ultimate popped on a Ryze from Zed, and it looks like Renekton will go ahead and pick up that kill, and Mr. Dr. Snuggles will go down, but now Nautilus coming up, and a great reaction from Mordekaiser as he comes up from the mid lane, and there we go. There's the Rune Prism coming out again, and the Mordekaiser all down onto Renekton. He will surely go ahead and fall here. And yes, there we go. Now there's a Renekton Ghost in the picture, and the Nautilus ultimate going down onto Ryze, and Ryze is going to get caught out here. And no, he will go ahead and go down in the double kill. Not sure why Mordekaiser used his flash there, but hey, whatever works.
I think Mordekaiser used the flash to get into the engagement as quick as possible. He was a little bit further away from that, but as in he wanted to get in nice and close, just to try and pick up that kill as quick as possible, because you want to get the kills onto the person that can deal out the most damage. And yes, Nautilus can do a lot of damage, but Nautilus is mainly there for tank and CC purposes.
An excellent point. Still a good pickup nonetheless, so despite that kill going to the red team, it's not been worth it. And ooh, down in bot lane, a nice stun coming out from Nami, the exhaust going down, as well as the ultimate, the nice disengage with the crescendo coming out, and now Tristana thinking, hey, maybe I can go ahead and fight this. She is going to pop the barrier, and there we go. Ezreal is going to go down, the jump coming down, but Nami will go ahead and pick up Tristana, and now it's all up to Sona. Ooh, a nice stun coming out from Nami, and that is going to deny Sona that kill.
Very much indeed. Sono did try very hard to try and...
Oh no! And now Zed coming in for Nami, and that is going to be one dead fishy as Sona tries to get Zed out of there, but no. For greed, he'll pay the ultimate price, but now Flash being forced out on the part of Sona. She's now forced to get out of there. So maybe blue team getting a little bit greedy here. Little bit.
Just a little bit, I think. I think they just want to try and further the lead they've got right now, and because of those choices, they're giving red team a few kills, which they don't really want to be doing. They had a nice 5-0 lead earlier, and now it's gone up to 9-3. They've given 3 kills to the red team right now, and I don't think that was the best choice for them, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that really pays off. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Zed now sitting at 3-2, Renekton sitting at 1-1. The upside for Renekton is that he's got nearly 30 CS on top of him right now, and holy cow, in the bot lane, we're going to see that jump coming up from Tristana, that increased range, but that barrier just barely managing to save Ezreal. We did see that ultimate come out from Tristana, so maybe another auto attack and she would have been well off there, but just not quite enough for her. That range starting to slowly build up is just getting very scary.
And this is the thing I was explaining about earlier with Tristana, just the fact that when it gets later for Tristana starts coming into her own. She's kind of weak to begin with. She's got a lot of clear there with that explosive shot, but the fact that her range just increases every level she builds, she then starts outranging turrets, and that's pretty scary when you can think of someone outranging turrets.
Yeah, it just means that there's not really going to be any safe position for them. Meanwhile, Mr. Dr. Snuggles, despite his presence in other lanes, has fallen 2 levels behind this Renekton. But down in the mid lane, it looks like we are going to see a gank. Ryze getting knocked up, that pull back, and Mordekaiser coming over the wall. That Rune Prism is out, but it's not going to stop anything, as it looks like, yes, there we go. The Mordekaiser will go ahead and finish him up. That ult is down, and they're going to be looking to pressure that mid lane turret to go ahead and take it down. Zed actually abandoning top lane to go ahead and take care of this mid lane turret. Mystery!
I lost you there. I don't know what's going on with Skype at the moment. There's a little bit... I have all the technical issues today, guys. Just Mist's not obviously working today.
We have Zac coming in, his ultimate going down, but Zed in return using his own onto him and take him down to about half health. It's not really going to do anything to deter them from this tier 2 turret. It's going to give Zed a little bit more pain onto himself, so he can't tank it as long, but they're still going to be able to pick it up without a problem, and now you can see them actually going away, as that is going to be 3 turrets for them, mid lane tier 1, tier 2, and bot lane tier 1 as well, and it looks like also a blue buff in the mix for them, so blue team really coming out on top of these engagements right now.
Absolutely, it just furring ahead the lead of the blue team right now, and it's coming to the point where red team really needs to start rethinking their strategy here if they're going to be able to win this. I think when it starts coming down to the proper team fights, it's going to start changing out. A beautiful snipe there by the Ezreal, I think, that denied them the blue buff.
Well, in the meantime, it looks like Zed keeps catching out this Renekton. Renekton, he's just so far ahead. You know, I don't think Zed roaming is really the best thing here. Renekton is essentially free farming. He's able to pressure turrets on his own, split push, go ahead and gather up the items at his own pace, and he's got 40 CS ahead. Now, I actually want to see how this transitions into gold differentials at the moment. We can see Zed has about 5,200 gold, whereas, surprisingly enough, Renekton has about 5,000, and that is, you know, that's the total gold. So, had a lot of these global gold objectives like towers, like dragons, not been in the mix for the blue team, Zed would be very far behind on this. So Renekton's keeping up quite well with this farm advantage, and more so than anything, he's got the level advantage right now, and that's something that Zed really has to be careful of, because Renekton is slowly going to get more powerful than anybody on his team, despite the fact that he's going ahead and farming the top lane by himself. But he's got the farm potential, he's got the push potential right now, and they really have to look out for that crocodile just going ahead and sneaking into their base.
Absolutely. It's just becoming increasingly difficult for the red team to try and do what they want to do. They're trying as hard as they can to try and push back the blue team, and they're not doing too badly at it either. They're trying to stop as many engagements from happening as they can, but it's all coming down to the fact that when the engagements happen...
Oh, and down in the bot lane we have a Nami ultimate coming out. There's a jump from Tristana, the crescendo coming out. The exhaust is already worn off of Trist, and now we can see the Ezreal ultimate coming out. And there we go. There is the flash coming out from Zac. The exhaust got down on him, and it looks like he will be forced down to that passive, and now Sona getting down very low. Ezreal and Nami deciding to pick on her, but this may be a bad choice. Meanwhile, up in the mid lane, we have Ryze flashing out from that Nautilus ultimate. The Nautilus flash going over the wall, and there we go. That will be a kill. Now the Ryze, Ghost, and the Renekton ultimate have come out, but Renekton may not be able to get away from this. Meanwhile, a turret going down in the top lane for the part of Zed and the blue team, and now it looks like the action is, for at least a moment, settled down across the map.
Good team fight there by both teams, but I think generally it is coming out that the blue team they've just been consistently pushing their lead over and over and over again, but MCLOLRS is really having some trouble trying to do something about it as well. You can see from the items the difference between the two teams, with only like 3 items each, or 2 to 3 items each on the red team even, whereas the blue team, you can see pretty much beginning out full builds all around. You can see that they've got the Ancient Golem and the Ancient Spectral Wraith buffs on the Nautilus and the Mordekaiser there. You've got the IE
and there we go. There's the stun coming out. An excellent stun on the part of Nami, actually taking up 3 targets, but it's not going to be enough to really deter them, as they did pick up the kill on Zac. And there we go. There's the ultimate from Nautilus coming out, and a well-placed hook will go ahead and spell his demise. Nautilus picking up that kill. Nami not really able to sit here and defend as his next creep wave comes up. They should be able to push, but no, a nice Ezreal ultimate will go ahead and keep them out of there.
It's just, as I said, it's red team trying to do as much as they can to try and keep them back, but in the end, blue team is just coming out on top. And as I was saying before, the builds are proving this. You've got Tristana's now got her IE and that Zeal. You can see Nautilus now picking up that Aegis of the Legion. That's going to provide a team-wide buff for his team to keep them all nice and tanky and be able to take a few more hits. Mordekaiser's now got that Seeker's Arm Guard and also picking up a ward. He has got that Neasly Large and Haunting Guys. That's going to output him a lot of damage, especially when he upgrades that Haunting Guys into Iliandries. It means that ultimate of his is going to start doing extra burn damage as well while it consistently pokes on an enemy. And that's going to really hurt the anyone that takes that dot of his.
Yeah, that is an excellent point. And now we can see kind of this dance for Baron is going to be happening within the next couple of minutes here. We see Sona picking up that Oracles, which is an interesting choice in of itself, simply because she's so squishy. But it looks like Nocturne bot getting into the back line, going ahead and using that disrupt, but the Zed ultimate is down on him. Meanwhile, Renekton getting picked off. That Crescendo not really coming into play there. And there we go. Tristana getting very low. The ultimate coming out, and Rise will manage to pick her up. And now, there we go. The Nautilus ultimate going out yet again. And there we go. The hook into Nami as they're only caring about CCing her right now. The stun coming out from Nami, as well as the speed boost coming out onto her from her passive, but it's not enough as Mordekaiser picks up the double kill, and now Ezreal in a lot of trouble as he's forced into a turret. Mr. Dr. Snuggles will go down here despite the heal coming out, and Ezreal will fall to Mordekaiser in a triple kill.
It's really becoming quite one-sided right now. Mordekaiser I think Mordekaiser is the man of the match at the moment. He's just consistently pushed his lead from his mid lane advantage in the early game towards the late game as he began his ascent through the ranks. I think Mordekaiser was a really strong pick for this team, and it's showing all throughout as they begin to press their advantage. They're now going for the inhibitor right now on my screen. They might have already killed the inhibitor on Lunette's screen.
Yes,
but
they have.
right now it's just consistently building up the advantage for the blue team right now.
Yeah, and there we go. There's a speed boost coming out from Nami. This is a great way to use that passive of hers. You know, Nami's passive allows you with every spell she casts on you that hits you, you get a speed buff if you're an ally. Now we do see the surrender vote coming out, but we could have potentially seen the kill going down onto Nautilus with those speed boosts, but some nice hooks. You know, this Nautilus play has been really excellent in this game. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this game up for you guys really quick. It is going to be 20-5, a 20-minute surrender coming out on the part of the red team. So the blue team will be going up into the finals here momentarily, ladies and gentlemen. We saw a lot of excellent Mordekaiser and Nautilus play, a roaming Zed that really had an impact in lanes, and a Tristana and Sona who knew how to play to their advantages over Ezreal and Nami by pushing into that turret and really denying Ezreal a lot of farm during the entirety of that game. So congrats to blue team. We'll see you guys momentarily. Please enjoy the music while we go ahead and prepare for the finals of this TowerDiveTV Weekly number 31.
Don't go away. We'll be back very momentarily.
Psst, I know we're muted right now, but I accepted that invite way too late. I'm gonna have to spectate off of you.
I'm not even in the game.
Shut up, mister, we're busy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Lunette the Herald, and here with me today is Mysteryopolis. We'll be bringing you the Tower Dive TV Weekly number 31 finals. And I actually know quite a number of people in this match. I'm surprised to see Cheesy Cookie here, but quick shout out. Hi, Cheesy. Good to see you playing. And of course, Mr. Dr. Snuggles with the best name ever. So, picks and bans, let's get into them immediately. Kha'Zix, Orianna, and Elise, followed up by Hecarim, Ryze, and Mordekaiser. Really no surprise with Mordekaiser being banned out from that last match. And Ryze, of course, known as that machine gun spellcaster. Nobody wants to deal with him come the late game. He's got the tankiness, he's got the damage, and he's got the ability to single out anybody he damn well pleases. And then if Hecarim, of course, that late game scaling jungler, nobody's wanted to deal with the pony this entire game.
And all the other picks that I've interesting to see are Kha'Zix, Orianna, and Elise. I mean, Kha'Zix is a really strong jungler at the moment, also quite strong in the top lane. Just the ability to be able to fade in and out of bushes to proc that passive of his just makes him just so much of a threat, as well as that healing from that spikes that he has as well. Also, Orianna, good support or AP burster that can utilize her ball as a support item or as a moment of burst damage. Also, a good initiation with that ultimate shockwave. There's also Elise being put out there straight away, obviously not wanting to not want to deal with the spider at all whatsoever. First pick's going down right now. Mr. Dr. Snuggles picking up the other ninja. Shen. Aside from the Z pick that he picked up last match, Shen being able to have that global teleportation and shield, gonna make him really strong in this match, I think.
Yeah, that's something that, I mean, picks and bans, when it comes down to it, there's only so many people that you can, get on your team, but there's only so many people that can be banned out. Eventually, something's going to fall through the cracks. A lot of what we see in the finals these days is targeted bans, and for good reason, too. There are certain champions that people are really proficient with that you don't want to go up against, and that's generally what we see banned out. It's not generally a meta of, oh, what's normally banned out in solo queue kind of deal. So despite the fact that, Hecarim and maybe even Kha'Zix are bans that we typically see in solo queue, the reason that we're seeing them here is because simply people are just so proficient with them at this point that it's not worth going up against them. So we have the Shen pick going out on the part of the blue team, Mr. Dr. Snuggles, whose name I will say every single time because I love that name. I'm sorry, that has got to be like one of the best names in all of North America. But Mr. Dr. Snuggles picking up Shen, wanting to go for a bit of that global control. Shen is really a game-changing champion. Being able to turn a fight in bot lane from being a 2v2 or into a 2v3 or a 3v2 into a 3v3 is really important. And more importantly than that, oh my god, I want to see this locked in so bad. I want to see that Twisted Fate more than anything I have ever wanted to see in a game because it has been so long since I've seen an absolute global control comp. Reason being is that either Shen or Twisted Fate are typically banned out so much, and they're never really seen on the same team anymore, either because you don't have two members on that team that are proficient for it, or one or the other is banned out, if not both. But global control comps like this are so incredibly strong once they hit 6. Once you hit 6, that's it. It's over. That mid game is absolutely going to be dominated on the part of the blue team. So if the purple team doesn't win early, they are going to be in so much trouble.
I incredibly agree with you that having Shen and Twisted Fate on the same team is going to put a huge amount of pressure onto the red team coming up towards the mid game to try to counter this with Zed and Lee Sin and Kennen, I think. But overall, I just think it's not going to be very good at all for whoever's taking the full brunt of a 4-man gank on their lane, especially if you get a 4-man gank on that bot lane as well from Mr. Dr. Snuggles and Twisted Fate coming in to help the Tristana and the Leona down in bot lane.
I have no words for the comp that I'm seeing. This is something that I've really wanted to see for a long time, and I don't think something that we've seen in the TowerDiveTV Weekly since the very, very early weeks. Like, very early weeks. So I'm super excited about this. This is something that is going to be great for this mid-game. That Leona Tristana is probably the only lane that really worries me right now. Leona Tristana Anything coupled with Leona. You know, kill lanes are either they're all in. You either win hard or you lose hard with them. But I don't think that Leona was a bad choice because they've got a Sona. You know, Tristana coupled with her jump, the natural damage that Leona can do. Sona's going to be in a lot of trouble if she doesn't invest into some kind of bulk in her runes and masteries. And now that we're in the delay, that's exactly what we're going to be looking at. And I'm very pleased to see this because this is exactly what you want to see when you're in a situation like this. So Sona knows that she's going to be going up against some people who are going to try and abuse the fact that she's squishy. So what does she do? She's running 78 health, 14 armor, 11 MR, and a teensy tiny bit of magic regeneration. Mana regeneration, rather. This is a great pick and a great way to be deceptively tanky as a very squishy support up against these lanes. This is something that even, you know, I'm a complete scrub at League of Legends. Let's just all be perfectly real with that for a moment. But when I run Sona, I think everybody who watches my stream knows exactly what it's called. It's called the Fat Girl Sona page. You go in there with 21 armor, 14 MR, and you go in there with an extra 100 health coupled through your runes and masteries. And so many people think you're the squishiest thing on earth, but you can take hits for days and pelt out amazing damage with your power chords. It's a simple way to go ahead and compensate for a champion's weakness. It's also a very nice way to go ahead and compensate for somebody like Leona, who's going to be looking to take advantage of that. So I love the rune setup on Sona. It was an excellent pick.
Really is indeed. I like the whole aspect of what the red team is actually doing, despite the fact the blue team has got that incredible global pressure on them. They have gone for a pretty sustainable and pretty decent team comp here. They've got the Lee Sin in the jungle. He's going to be pretty strong at using his utility as well as jack of all trades jungling skills to be able to dip in and dip out of fights, set up ganks, and just generally be a general nuisance for any of the lanes he's ganking. You've got the Sona and the Caitlyn bot lane, Caitlyn being probably the strongest pick out of all the usual ADCs we see in tournaments these days. Second to, I think, Tristana, or even... in fact, no, I think it's just second to Tristana and Ezreal, actually. I think it's Caitlyn's probably the best sort of main pick for top-level play at the moment, second to Ezreal and then Tristana, I think. And obviously, as Lulu said, Sona having those interesting amount of masteries and runes to keep herself deceptively tanky towards the other team.
I'm so excited about it. I'm sorry. I can't help
myself.
It's
fine. I'm commenting on it, so it's fine. So you've also got the Zed and the Kennen as well, the two ninjas. They're going to have that -2 health, is it? Or is it -2 damage because they have two ninjas on their team?
It's minus health.
It's minus health.
Yes, it's -1 health per ninja on your team. So, they're going to be rocking that debuff so hard.
They're going to have Robbie rocking the -1 health debuff because they have two ninjas on the team. But I don't think it's going to matter too much. It is a Zed, it is a Kennen. They're not really going to care that much. So they're going to be pretty happy just running those two guys. The great thing about that is they don't have mana to worry about, so they can just output a lot of damage in a short amount of time and then just wait for the energy to regen back up as quick as possible.
Yeah, despite that, blue buffs aren't, you know, they're not... there's no really nice or proper way to say unbeneficial, so there's really no way that they're not beneficial to them. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with that. You know, they still provide an increased energy regeneration. That cooldown reduction is very important to them. So blue buffs, you know, they're not completely wasted on them, but I don't suspect we'll see anybody going ahead and picking those up on the part of the red team, except for maybe Caitlyn, who could actually make some surprising work of it. Coming out with those Piltover Peacemaker Qs, as well as, so there's a combination you could do with Caitlyn. You 90 caliber net away to slow down the target, and then immediately fire off a Q, your Piltover Peacemaker, into that. What that does is it slows the target and fires off an immediate line of damage. They're not able to get away from that. Generally, it's very hard to dodge at that point, and it's pretty much some nice guaranteed damage. The problem that comes with that is that it's very, very, very mana taxing. You can't spam it consistently over and over and over again, nearly as much as anybody would like to. So giving that blue buff to Caitlyn may actually allow her to do so. I don't think that's going to happen early on in the game, though. That being said, though, oh my goodness, Silent Knight Sona, I want that skin so bad. Okay, I'm done.
You can never get that skin.
I know.
Never get that skin.
Don't start. Oh, good
I
cry. Don't
won't.
start.
I'm not starting. I'm just saying you'll never get that skin. Because
Stop
if you
it!
get that skin, then I'm going to complain and say I want my zombie brand, please.
Aw, wait, zombie brand? Why didn't you just ask when Halloween was around? I would have gotten it for you.
I don't think I was there around Halloween. I only
Oh.
joined like the start, the end, just at
Yeah,
the
okay, that's a good
end.
point.
I only joined like at the end of what last year. So
Yeah. I'm sitting here going, why didn't you just ask? I would have gotten you the skin, and then, you weren't here, so that's unfortunate. Okay, I'm just
I'm
gonna
hoping
smile
they.
and nod and apologize.
I'm
Sorry.
hoping they bring it out this October, so
Yeah?
that I can pick it up then, or ask someone to pick it up for me then, just so I can get Zombie
If
Brand because I love that skin. It is a nice skin.
if it comes out during this Halloween stuff, I'll go ahead and pick it up for you. Don't worry,
Oh, thank
I won't
you.
forget. I'm gonna go ahead and get it for you. We've got some nice wards down, and that is going to be the end of that invade. That pink going down by Leona. We'll go ahead and thrash that. This is gonna leave her a ward short in the lane. So this is kind of where Sona's going to have the advantage right now, where they're going to be able to keep a little bit more consistent coverage compared to Leona. She's gonna have to be very careful with those in the early game. Oh, and the counter invade going down. Ah, this is going to be really interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be a potential 5v5 as a double invade happens. And here we go. Kennen is the only one moving towards a lane. The blue team is going to go ahead and split, caught out by that ward before going ahead and returning to this. They didn't actually have vision on them, so that was a very interesting choice. And now the red team, after all that work, is going to go ahead and head back towards the blue buff right now. The four of them sitting here. Now Kennen down in the bot lane means that, interestingly enough, they're going for a lane swap, and there we go. TF is going to get caught out, and the immediate flash coming out, followed by that gold card, but it's not going to be used on anybody, as both Shen and Nautilus are forced to back off, and now we can see that pink ward coming out from Sona, and they're going to go ahead and take down that ward, and now they're going to go ahead and return to taking this blue buff. What I really like about this is Sona and Caitlyn have essentially evaluated the lanes. They've gone, you know what, Sona probably isn't the best matchup to be going up against Leona right now, so why don't we go ahead and do a 2v1 lane swap and see what goes from there. Mystery, do you know what I say about lane swaps? Because holy cow, what the heck is going on? That is a 2v1 in mid.
It is a 2v1 in mid. It's gonna be interesting indeed to see this sort of lane swap that's going on. It means it's pushing advantages on other lanes that potentially means that, some lanes generally don't what you expect not have some lanes. Because of this global presence that they have, they've decided to do a different sort of lane swap. They've decided to swap. The normal lane swap you see these days is the top and the bottom lane. The red team have pulled off a mid and a bottom lane switch. This is incredibly interesting to see in a sort of top-level play, but I like it. I think it's a good counter towards the fact that they're being pressured by this global taunt comp. So we'll just have to see how it comes out. I think that because they've pulled this off, though, they will have a huge advantage in that mid lane push, and then be able to consistently gank towards the bot lane, towards that where the Kennen is.
It's just so interesting to see, and not something that we commonly see at all. When I look at nice wildcard damage. When I look at kill lanes, or when I look at lane swaps in general, I'm always skeptical about them. There are so many times we've seen lane swaps initiated by a team and then go just the opposite way. In games, they thought, oh man, this is going to be great. Why don't we go ahead and send, two people up in top lane and then one person down in bot lane, and then it works the exact opposite way they expected to because they haven't calculated something out. They went ahead and sent somebody top against, a champion who's great against 2v1ing like Jace. Jace is great for lane swaps. And different things like that, and we never hardly see them work out, ever hardly see them work out. I can talk, but Twisted Fate taking a lot of damage here, and there's the first blood coming off of the power cord from Sona after that exhaust. A lot of heavy damage had gone onto him in the early game, and he just was not able to keep up. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now in the mid lane. They want to go ahead and deny TF as much as possible, and go ahead and get that early turret so that they're forced to go ahead and just hang back as the red team assumes map control. An interesting tactic, to say the least.
I think, if anything, Kennen's going to really hold his own in the bot lane as well, because he just doesn't have to worry about mana. They've picked a very energy-efficient champions in this combination here to go up against the fact that they're up against global taunts, and it's really going to work out for them, I think. I think the red team have done very
Oh, and
well
here we
in
go
what
in the
they
mid lane.
picked.
There's the engagement down onto Sona. The gold card following up behind. So many stuns going out, but Sona is still going to manage to get away as Caitlyn fires off auto attacks onto that TF. And, I mean, yeah, overall this is very interesting. You know, Leona, we saw her go ahead and leave bot lane to go mid lane. An excellent response. And here we go, the Zenith Blade and Q combo in. And there we go, there's a TF wild cards coming out, followed up by the gold card in case anybody tries to pursue, but that is not going to be an issue. But you see them going ahead and taking Leona, moving her up to mid lane, so it's Trist 1v1 versus Kennen in the bot lane, and then Leona and Twisted Fate versus Sona and Caitlyn in the mid lane. This is actually a good tactic to use, going ahead and essentially taking that lane swap, putting it on its head, and going, you know what, you don't want to go against Leona? That's too bad, you're going to be there anyways.
I think the blue team did, as you said, I think the blue team did a very good way in responding to the fact that they did this lane swap. It's going to put them in a good position where they are really, where it could be anyone's game. This is the finals. We're seeing some amazing things happen in this tournament. In this final match in general, we've already seen an almost 5v5, already just like level 1 in the jungle there, and now we're already seeing these interesting lane swaps. I think we've got a really interesting match ahead of us.
I think so too, but more interesting than that right now is the fact that this Leona is just wandering between lanes. She's going back and forth, and here we go. There's Nautilus coming in there, the flash coming out from Kennen as he's forced back from his tower, that Zenith Blade not connecting from Leona, and they're going to be forced to deal with just taking the tower here. Meanwhile, Mr. Dr. Snuggles up in the top lane is going ahead and pushing up this lane up against Zed, wanting to get in as much damage on it as possible. The blue team knows that they have to assume some kind of map control, and here we go. Kennen coming in with his ultimate, and there we go. There's Lee Sin. They're going to go ahead and try and take down Leona, but it's not going to happen as the Shen ultimate is coming in, and there we go. Nautilus looking for a chance to engage onto Lee Sin, but nobody wants to take that tower damage. They're going to go ahead and burst down this tower, and there we go. There's a taunt coming out from Shen, followed up by the Zenith Blade and the Q action from Leona, and that's going to go ahead and mean a very dead Lee Sin.
Wow, it's Lee Sin sacrificing his life there to be able to save his Kennen, and that's a good play there by Lee Sin's part, just to keep his Kennen alive, to keep him on 0 deaths, to keep him being able to farm and not be left behind. So it's a good move by Lee Sin there to make himself be taken out there, but it's not good to have to resort to leaving yourself a kill.
I feel bad for this TF right now. He's kind of been left alone in this lane. He's being shut down really hard. He's not anywhere close to getting level 6 right now, and even if he was, he doesn't have the opportunity to roam anywhere, which is exactly what the red team wants. So even though they've managed to pick up this dragon, let's go ahead and take a look at how things have kind of worked across the board. So in top lane, we've got both of these towers pushing back and forth. Shen is leaving to go help ganks, and Zed is taking the advantage to split push. In mid lane, we have the red team going ahead and pressuring that mid lane tower very hard. They actually managed to take it down. Meanwhile, in bot lane, we have the same thing going on for the blue team. The blue team is taking their advantage and pushing in on that tower very hard. But in response to that, because of the one engagement down in the blue lane, they managed to also pick up a dragon. That alone is essentially what's putting them ahead right now. We can see a slight gold advantage coming out for them, but all in all, it's 1-to-1 tower, it's 1-to-1 kill. The only thing that's making up this difference right now is a little bit of farm, but mostly dragon.
Pretty much, it's put them at a little bit close to like a 1.5k gold lead just because of that dragon. We can already see in the builds right now that some stuff is being interesting stuff is being built. Shen's optimizing with the usual tanky build, picking up that chain vest, picking up that giant spell. That's going to give him a little bit more extra health and tank damage for his team, especially when he comes in just a little bit late into an engagement, especially when he uses that ultimate of his to come in and then start taking some damage.
Bot lane, we had a little bit of action going down. Caitlyn getting very low, and Leona looking for the chance to engage. She's going to come right up here. Twisted Fate coming in with that gold card. It's going to go ahead and land onto Caitlyn, but the jump is going down onto Sona, and they are going to go ahead and pursue her after that stun came out. The Zenith Blade locking her up, and there we go. That's going to be a dead Sona, but Caitlyn managing to solo Twisted Fate. Meanwhile, down in the top lane, up in the top lane, we're going to see Lee Sin going ahead and working on taking down this turret, and there we go. His ultimate has gone down, but that was probably not the smartest move, as he will go ahead and fall to Mr. Dr. Snuggles despite that tower being taken down. And oh my goodness, in the bot lane, the Ignite is going to go ahead and finish off Tristana after Zed came in, and woo! That is going to be the end of that until the Zenith Blade goes off, and Nautilus comes in with his ultimate, and there we go. Now it looks like, will that be it? Yes! And Nautilus will manage to take him out. So much action going down on this map right now, guys. Holy cow.
It's very much back and forth right now. Both teams doing incredibly well in keeping up with the other. We've got 4 to 3 kills right now after that engagement, but it's now 2 to 1 towers for the red team instead. So it's kind of pushing on either side. Again, the only thing splitting this is that early dragon that we saw there. They still got that 1.5k goal lead for the blue team because they got that dragon earlier, but the fact that one kill is over the other, but the towers are over the other. It generally comes down to what the teams are going to do towards the mid and late games. That's the sort of thing I want to see, and I'm interested to see.
This is the thing. We saw this laning phase end at about 16 minutes. This game, outside of the champion picks, the way this game is being played right now is probably the weirdest thing you'll ever see happen in the meta, if you can even call it that at this point. We saw the 2v1 lane swap mid, but what we saw was a good reaction by the red team. Once they knew Sona and Caitlyn had the advantage, they sent them back down bot again. Now at this point, everybody is just playing it like they would outside of lane phase, like it is in the late game, where they're going to be roaming, they're going to be taking towers, they're going to be going ahead and looking to pick people off, like Zed right now in the mid lane, who's been caught out by Nautilus and is going to be forced to retreat. Meanwhile, Shen down in the bot lane is going to go ahead and land that taunt down onto Caitlyn, but is going to be forced back after a 90 caliber net and a Piltover Peacemaker on to Twisted Fate.
It's coming down to the fact it is now coming down to player skill right now. In fact, the whole point, the whole like score system, the gold between them is now shortened down from 1.5k to just a single k of gold. The red team have pushed that. Now they've got 3 towers to 1.
Oh, and here we go. Here's the engagement down in the bot lane. We saw Lee Sin go in a little bit preemptively, followed up by Kennan's ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. Leona coming in here and going in with the stun. The Nautilus going out, and now Sona is in a world of trouble. She's going to get down very low, and oh, there she goes. Nautilus picking up that kill, and there's a taunt down onto Caitlyn. Meanwhile, Kennen trying to fire off some auto attacks, but it's not going to be enough as Caitlyn gets taken down, and there's a double kill, and the Flash Zenith Blade coming out from Leona, but it does not look like her stun was timed up with that. She's going to get stunned in return, and this may be, no, it doesn't actually look like Kennan's going to get away as he's taking that damage, and there's the taunt going out, and Mr. Dr. Snuggles will go ahead and take that home and take on the killing spree to end that engagement. Now, what's really, really interesting here, Tristana is split pushing top, but the big thing to remember, despite these kills that are happening, is something I want to stress because, I mean, we could, in reality, we could see a huge and major upset here despite the scores that we're seeing now. This game is about objectives. It's not about kills. Don't get me wrong, kills can help you get the gold to make sure you secure objectives, but it's all about the objectives. So when we see that the red team has more turrets, you know, they're a little bit far behind on gold, but they have more turrets. If they can continue to essentially press turrets, gain map advantage, regain that gold, they could very well come back from this. One engagement does not spell the end of the game for this.
And it's basically what I was trying to get into saying earlier. The fact well, my favor is going with the red team at the moment, just because the red team has more towers than the blue team at the moment. The blue team has been doing some split pushing, so it has been giving them another tower in that engagement. But because the red team has got so many towers in the early game so far, it's put them ahead. It's put them in a position where they can start pushing down the other towers, pushing down the lanes, they can press advantages, they can pick off people, they can start having map control. So regardless of what the blue team is doing with that, with this team fight,
oh,
they
and
can
there
still
comes
turn
Leona
around.
with the ultimate, and Twisted Fate coming in as well, and that will be a dead Caitlyn, followed up by a very dead Lee Sin, as there's a double kill coming out from that rocket jump. And oh my god, global control comps are some of the most devastating things in the mid-game. It's only 13 minutes into the game. It's 10-3 right now. 22,000 gold, nearly 23,000 gold, to around 19,000 gold on the part of the red team, and blue team securing themselves another dragon. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Global control is scary, and Shen getting caught out here is going to be forced to taunt over to Sona and then make it out of there alive. So what do you think about this game so far, Mystery?
I think it's very action-packed. I think it's very, very, it's enticing, it's new, it's not a typical tournament finals that we always like to have. It's different, it's interesting. You got two teams pitting out their own tactics against this. You've got a global taunt team comp that we're running at the moment that we have not seen in God knows how long. We've got the red team pulling out everything they can. They've got 2 energy champions in this team to try and counter the fact that they've got globals on the other team. We are just seeing constant amounts of team fights every second. And it's only 15 minutes into the game, and we've seen so much happens already. I'm so pumped.
Yeah, it looks like we have Leona getting caught out here for a little bit of damage, but yes, this is probably one of the more exciting finals we've had in a while. You know, global control comps are always interesting to watch, and not always because they even do well, but when they fail miserably, oh, they fail miserably, and when they do well, they do well. This is really an all-or-nothing team comp, and speaking of, we have Leona coming in. She's going to be kicked away by that ultimate, but countering up with her own ultimate, the crescendo going down. Kennen trying to do something, stun going out, but it's not going to be enough. His Twisted Fate picks him up, and there we go. We can see that engagement in there. Leona win in 1v3, and they still managed to come out on top of that engagement by picking off Kennen.
Leona being the... I really want to give this Leona lots of commendation for the fact that she was put so
Oh no,
far
and Caitlyn being caught out, and there's the Tristana jump followed by the TF wildcards coming up, and oh, what is going to happen here? Shen getting down low, but no, Tristana will go ahead and manage to pick up that kill, and there's the Nautilus ultimate going out, and the flash coming down from Sona, and there's a flash coming out from Nautilus, and the jump coming out for Tristana, and there's the Sona being cleaned up, and there we go. There is also that clean up going from Caitlyn, and Tristana will finally get taken down by Zed.
As I said before, as I was saying, until damn you team interrupting me with your team fights. But anyway.
Oh no, and Kennen getting caught out here. He's going to take some wild cards to the face, and a trap going off onto Nautilus as both him and Twisted Fate decide to back off. Your turn! So sorry for the team rudely interrupting you.
God, I don't know what they're doing. They're just like, oh, let's just go into team fight and miss this talking. Thanks.
Exactly. We're playing that game now. We're not playing League of Legends. We're playing Let's Irritate Mist while he casts.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, as I was saying, first, rudely interrupted. You can already see. I have to give commendations to this Leona. So the simple fact that she was put under pressure with having to like support not just bot lane but mid lane as well. And now I can talk because they've paused it for me.
Ah, no. Dude, everybody knows what I think about pauses at this point. Man, I just... pauses.
Oh, they so
pauses.
They
Yeah,
so kindly paused it for me so that I can explain my...
Yeah, please, Mystery. The team was like, man, we're being really rude to this guy. You know what'll go ahead and fix it? Let's go ahead and pause the game so we can catch up on all of his thoughts and enlighten the lovely viewers that are out here today. So, Mystery, while these guys are giving you the opportunity, why don't you go ahead and enlighten us on what's going on right now?
Oh dear. So, as I was saying, I have to give commendations to this Leona. The fact she was put under so much pressure just because they had this duo mid lane against her. She had to leave her Tristana to go support her mid lane Twisted Fate. She then had to return to her bot lane. She kept switching out between the two lanes. She's been constantly under pressure, but she's done so well in the fact that she's keeping up with everything. She's instigated every fight. She was basically, in one case right now that we just saw, basically 1v3ing the red team. She just didn't care. She took every single one of them on, knew her team was coming, and was like, you know, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to go straight in there and not care and tank that damage, blow off all their stuff, and then just keep tanking it until they get there, throw my stuns down, and get my team some kills. Commendations to this Leona just for the fact how ballsy this one is.
Yep, and it looks like Kennen is back, so we could see this pause going off here momentarily. So good job killing the time mystery. Seriously, if anybody out there has any experience commentating and you're watching this video, you know damn well as we do that pauses are probably one of the worst parts of the game. It's like, oh man, let's have some fluid action, then suddenly be ripped apart by downtime because now we have to readjust to get our flow back at the blah, 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 and everything sucks, and that was about the best way that I could explain that. So make sure to hit J to jump to live as we go ahead and get back into this. It is 17 minutes into the game. The score is 14-4, 92,000 gold to 22,000 gold coming out for each team respectively. 3 turrets to 3 turrets, and now we can see Leona's actually managed to pick up an Oracles.
It's gonna give her a little bit of viewing on the wards, if there's any wards around at the time. I like how she popped it, didn't pop it straight away. She popped it just a little bit later, so that she can pick up the wards. So also, it's in her item inventory, so if she does get killed, she doesn't lose the oracles immediately. So it's a good thing to keep the oracles on you until you know that there's wards incoming. So that you know that if there are...
Speaking of, it looks like we finally have the engage with the stun going down on to Lee Sin, but Nautilus getting caught out in a stun of his own. He's going to get chunked to about half health before both teams decide to disengage. And this is something I like seeing in high levels of play. You know, it might be rude to say, but in earlier levels of play, when generally somebody sees someone going in, suddenly the reaction of both teams is, oh my god, everybody has to go all in now, we've got to do stuff now, even though it might not be favorable. In higher levels of play, we see situations like this, where, you know, somebody will get chunked down to half, somebody will get chunked down to half. Instead of going ahead and going for the all-out engagements, both of the teams back off, they reevaluate, and then they go in and try again. And this is a great thing to see, especially in these high levels of play, you know, much more calculated team fights. So right now, the Leona Oracles was a great pickup. They want to go ahead and establish some kind of control as they prep for Baron to go ahead and keep that objective control that they've got going from those two dragons to go ahead and just press down, get an inhibitor, or maybe seal the deal on the game.
What can I say? Blue team has just been pushing their advantage ever since the beginning. The Globe team comp seems to be working out for them. They've got the Shen ultimate. They've had the stuns coming out from Twisted Fate. They've had an amazing Leona that's been doing so much for their team. The Tristana has been doing very well. Leona hasn't died, by the way, or got any kills. She's 0-0 and 10 right now. That's how amazing this Leona is. I have not seen a good Leona for a long time, and just seeing this Leona has sparked hope in my heart again.
It's a precarious situation overall for both teams right now. You know, the red team's in a situation where they're down. They're down really hard right now, and they need to go ahead and have a couple good pickoffs and a couple good fights that are likely going to mean Leona missing her ult in order to come back from this. But the blue team is also in a sticky situation of their own, because they're looking at a situation where TF, you know, the part of him that makes him great for a global control comp is going to be useless late game. And the same nearly goes for Shen as they look more so at these 5v5s, and Shen doesn't have more of an opportunity to split push. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes here. You can see Shen still trying to take advantage of that. It's only 20 minutes into the game. He wants to keep split pushing those towers until they're in a position to go ahead and take Baron. So, you know, I really like what the blue team is doing, but you can tell that they know that the effectiveness of this comp is eventually going to run out. And now Kennen coming up in here trying to get the steal, and you can see Shen split pushing Zed, trying to get him off of that tower, and there we go. There is the stun coming out, and the dash in from Leona, that Zenith Blade going down, and there we go. Twisted Fate coming right into that fight, and Zed will go down the Nautilus ultimate down onto Kennen. He's going to get very low and then immediately fall, and no, he's not going to fall. Lee Sin and Zed both getting taken out. Tristana picking up yet another kill as they go to take this tower, and there we go. The Caitlyn ult coming out, but not going to manage to snipe somebody as they manage to go ahead and take that turret. Leona didn't die, and Kennen didn't die. What in the world? I was really surprised that neither of them managed to die here. Like, this Leona has superpowers. She's just like, no, I'm not dead. Nice try, though. Bye! And then now we have the blue team. They're going to go ahead and take on a base turret, possibly here. It looks like it's going to get down very low. Are they going to take it? Yes, they are, and I apologize ahead of time, guys. Apparently, I'm really hyper, and it sounds like I've had a couple Monsters drink already today. So, yeah, apparently I'm intoxicated off caffeine.
It's all good. It gives you an extra hyperactive feel when you're casting team fights. So I like that. It's good. It's all fine. Looking at the team item builds at the moment, though, I want to go reflecting on this because we've seen a lot of the action happening, and I want to go into some of the more colorful stuff. You can already see some of the builds going down right now, more towards the blue side than the red side. You can already see a lot of stuff. They're going to rudely interrupt me again, aren't they?
Yes. You're going to get all the interruptions. It's going to be the best thing ever, and I'm going to sit
here
and laugh.
I can see, the stream is just poor.
Annoy the Brit. Annoy him so much. He's going to hate casting these games. And by the end of it, you're going to be like, I want to go back to play-by-play. Why doesn't my client work?
I want to go back to play-by-play anyways.
You can yell at Riot later.
Riot don't like me.
Oh man, I love how the game has just divulged to this because we're seeing an absolute stomp, but we've talked about a lot of the things that we can talk about right now. You know, we look into item builds right now. Leona's building a Shirelia. She wants more engaged potential for her team. We've got TF with the Zanyas coming out right now, which is a great idea for him, especially if he ults into a fight and finds himself in a bad position. We've got IE, Phantom Dancer, Pickaxe, most likely going into Last Whisper for Tristana, all very standard. Same thing goes with Nautilus, Bulwark, Mobile Boots. I mean, nothing that has come out from the blue team has been surprising at all. The same thing pretty much goes for the red team. Nobody is building anything to anything that you go, oh man, that's really weird. I have no idea why we wouldn't see that. It's just everything that is going on right now is very standard.
I tell you what, this game, yes, it's been a pub stomp, but has it been a good game? Yes, it has. We've seen so much happen in the early game parts. The red team are still not quitting as well. They're still fighting on. They're not
no, and it looks
up.
like here's the engagement. Kennen coming in, and there we go. There's the knockup from Nautilus. The Zanya's coming out, and Tristana is immediately going to get burst down, but Shen is going to be able to pick off Kennen. And now we have Zed following Leona, picking up her first kill of the match, and there we go. Sona is going to die, and now TF coming out. The flash being forced out of Caitlyn. And, ooh, this looks like it's going to be GG here. We see the GG's being called as this inhibitor gets taken. Are we going to see the surrender, or are we going to see this game continue to play out for a bit? That will be the question. Each team pretty much calling it quits at this point, knowing they think how this game is going to turn out. But you know what they say, it's not over till it's over. Caitlyn is going to get picked off here. Shen picking up that kill after a nice gold card coming out from Twisted Fate. Excellent job on his part. Those pink wards being laid down, and now Lee Sin kind of just sitting there dancing around, not exactly sure how he's going to end up defending this as he waits for the rest of his team to get up and in position. I thought we were going to see an engagement from Kennen there, but apparently I was wrong.
Apparently you were. Apparently they don't want to engage. They just want to sit back and just relax, and they're going to tempt you and like, oh, we're going to go engage. No, we're not. Ha.
Yeah, this is the kind of game it is right now. I apologize to everybody who may or may not watch this in the future. Just be like, what the hell? Are these casters on crack right now? I have no idea what's happening. No, it's been one of those days. We have Nautilus using his hook to do his best to give away, followed up by a flash on his part. That Zed ulti popping, but it's not really going to be enough, and Zed is going ahead and step out into a sticky situation. That blue card coming out, though. Nice pick by TF is going to go ahead and just walk on out of there.
There's a bit of a thing. I'll say, moving quickly away from the match quickly, there's a bit of a debate on who's who in the chat at the moment. They think I'm
Mystery,
you and you're me.
I'm sorry. I'm Mystery. Sorry for any of the confusion.
I'm Lunette the Herald. How you doing?
Oh, that will not be awkward at all. You just log into my inbox, find like, you know, half a dozen applications throughout the week, be like, I don't know what to do with these.
I could never do your job. I could never do your job.
No,
you do too much. I could never do it.
I'm really aware. I do all kinds of stuff around here. Speaking of, after this, I think I have to get on Guild Wars 2 and farm some more. But outside of that, Kennen popping his ultimate, and there we go. Leona coming in after she'd already used her ultimate to try and engage, but to no avail. And now the TF ultimate coming in here, and that is going to be a dead Lee Sin as Tristana takes that kill, and now they're going to go after Caitlyn. And there's the flash Zenith blade. Nice catch out, and there's the crescendo coming down, but it's not going to be enough as the double kill goes down. Tristana goes for the jump, and now she's going to try and catch out this Soda, and no, Nautilus is going to steal that triple kill because Nautilus is a jerk. I was going to say a lot worse words, but there's the unofficial triple kill going to Tristana, and now they're taking down these towers, and this is going to be the end of the match. Blue team going to take home the title as the winners of this TowerDiveTV Weekly number 31. They're going to go ahead and take home a lovely amount of RP. Remember, $250 prize pool plus the triumphant Rise skin. They're going to go ahead and be able to rock as that Nexus explodes. And that is going to be it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. This has been Lunette the Herald. Casting with me today has been Mysteriopolis. Say bye, Mysteriopolis.
Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the Briticism.
The Briticism? Really? The Briticism? That's... I got nothing. Anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and do a few quick plugs. Remember to follow us on Twitch, even if you watch more than League of Legends content. Sundays, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, we're starting up a weekly Guild Wars 2 tournament that we're going to be able to offer a lot of prizes for as well. Be sure to stay tuned to TowerDiveTV on Twitch to find out things like game analysis night, more casted games, prize matches, community nights, and things like that, as well as any of the fundraising events that we may or may not be doing, which will mostly include me being up for 24 hours, crying on stream about how I had to be up for 24 hours. So that'll
That's always
be,
good.
yeah, that's so much fun. Oh man,
I
that's
don't know
so
if
much
you
fun.
say a few plugs I want to do. There's also our Twitter and YouTube channel. If you want to go, guys, check those out. Just search TowerDiveTV there, and you will find us at TowerDiveTV or TowerDiveTV on YouTube. We've also got our own personal Twitters at Mysteriopolis and at Lunette the Herald. If you wish to donate to us, we have a PayPal. Just click that donate now with PayPal button just below the stream. Nice, big in yellow there. Also, we have a website, TowerDive.tv, if you
It's
want to go
being
check us out.
overhauled, by the way, just so everybody is aware. That is not the website that will be up in the next month. That website is being overhauled. Speaking of, if you're a web designer and looking to make some extra money, feel free to contact me, Lunette the Herald at TowerDive.tv. Don't you sit and laugh at me. All right, guys. No, seriously. I think we're just about done with all the plugs around here, so we're gonna go get back to beating each other up in chat and arguing over who is the best caster in all of NA. So we will see you guys later. Again, this has been Lunette the Herald casting here today with Mysteriopolis. It has been great casting with you guys, and we will see you at the next TowerDiveTV Weekly. Gonna be at number 32. Bye, guys.
See you later.